Welcome everyone to the Sports Giant Network. And today in this video, we're reviewing this past weekend's card from the UFC from Des Moines, Iowa. It's the main event between Cory Sandhagen and Deiveson Figueiredo. Now this card, man, it's a lot of people been talking about the co-main event, rightfully so because of what happened. I'm gonna give my thoughts about it and also the main event too, because the main event ended very weird and sad to me. And it's like, I mean, we'll talk about it when we get there. But the main card was all right. Like some people say it was a trash card. I thought it was okay. Like it wasn't the best card ever, but I don't think it was trash. Like it was okay. I mean, don't get me wrong. Don't get me wrong. There were some decisions that were just but but there were some decent moments I thought. And and also I do want to mention this prelim. I do want to give a shout to excuse me to Azamat Bekoev. I didn't want to butcher. I just want to pronounce his name correct. Azamat Bekoev got a sick knockout with Ryan Loader. Impressive knockout in the second round. Looked very well. It was a very good knockout. Caught him perfectly. It was a beautiful knockout. But it was a left hook he caught Ryan Loader with that dropped him. It was sick. It was very nice. The guy, I mean, Bekoff is not Bekoff. I don't know why I said Bektak. Ugh. I don't know what the fuck was I thinking. Butcher his name. Anyway, Azamat Bekoff gets a very good knockout as he's now 20-3 in the UFC in his MMA career. And Azamat Bekoff is on a roll. He's a very good fighter. So don't keep your name out. I was looking at his resume and the other guys he lost to were just solid guys. One was good from Russia. I mean, he's only lost his losses were in a regional scene in Russia, and like some of his losses were to some good guys. I think there's one guy that was like so, but there are two from when I looked at his Tapology record, I was like, oh, these are good fighters. He lost to, but yeah, Azamat Bekoff, I do want to give him a shout out because he had a good highlight knockout in the prelims. So I do want to talk about that real quick. As I scratch my shoulder because of an itch. As we transition from that to the first fight in the main card, Jeremy Stevens, Mason Jones. Mason Jones wins via unanimous decision. I said Mason Jones was going to win, and this was a fun fight. This was the best fight tonight. Clearly, this was wild out, entertaining, back and forth. Jeremy Stevens, despite not fighting MMA in 3 years and not being UFC in almost four, brought it. Mason Jones, brought it and had a good fight. I mean, Mason Jones won his fight clearly 30-27. You can maybe argue round two for Stevens because he did hurt Mason Jones at one point in round two, but I feel like Jones landed way more in that fight in that round. Jones landed a lot of rights, straights, punches, leg kicks, body kicks, a jumping knee that cut Stevens in the second round. That cut him around his like hairline area. And Stevens had his moments. Stevens, showed toughness, fired back, landed some good shots on Mason Jones. Mason Jones, like I said, got hurt in that second round, and he had like a big swelling underneath his right eye. Yeah, I think it's right eye if I remember. And Stevens was catching him, but Jones was just Jones was landing more and throwing more and catching Stevens and pressuring more. Stevens was doing all right. Stevens landed, like I said, landed a good amount on Jones, but Jones landed more and did more and got takedowns in the second round. It was very back and forth, entertaining fight the first two rounds. Third round, Mason Jones decided to take him down and not risk it. I know people didn't like it because people love to scrap and people want to see more violence and stuff. But Mason Jones first two rounds mostly stood up with Jeremy Stevens and was hurting Stevens and decided to, you know what, I'm not going to risk it and get caught by him. I'm going to take him down. We have a clear advantage, and I'm going to use my wrestling to victory. And that's what he did. And it was a smart game plan for Mason Jones. It was really smart. It made sense. And I get it. I would prefer Mason Jones basically like stood up and just bang with him, obviously. But I get why Jones did it, and we had for entertaining first two rounds. And Mason Jones wins via his decision. And his return to the UFC, I believe, too. I know Stevens' return. I think this was Mason Jones' return to the UFC also, if my memory serves me correct. Anyway, good performance for him. I know some people could criticize Jones because had been finished a lot in his recent, towards the end of his UFC career. And it's like, damn, you couldn't finish Jeremy Stevens. Like, how good are like How good are you? But I think Stevens is bare knuckle boxing hang on finish. I know you beat Eddie Alvarez 4 months ago before going back to MMA. Let me check if he's undefeated bare knuckle boxing, and just regular boxing he's only two. But I mean, excuse me, zero, one loss and one draw, and that draw is to Jose Aldo. Ironically enough, I say ironically because they fought before, and Aldo's fighting this upcoming weekend, which I am gonna do a video, obviously previewing this UFC upcoming card from Montreal, But yeah, so Stevens hasn't been finished in his recent combat sports adventures. That makes sense. So so I do wanna give credit. I do want to give credit. So I do want to defend Mason Jones there, and also even towards the end of Stevens' MMA run, yeah, he got finished a few times, but it wasn't like he was getting chin like a lot towards the end of his MMA career. One of the submission. I mean, finishes were by submission. They weren't exactly knockouts and TKOs and stuff. So I'm going to defend Mason Jones. He had a good performance. Stevens is tough. This is Stevens' return fight to UFC in Iowa, where he's from. Made sense to bring him back, especially to have a local guy there. Great performance, great fight. Good congrats to Mason Jones. He wins. He improves to, I believe, what, 16-2? Yes, 16-2. Returns to UFC. He's 30 years old, so we'll see what Mason Jones does in the lightweight division. Also, it seems like there's a lot more Welsh fighters making a name. You have him, you got Oban Elliott, who I believe is Welsh, and then you got Jack Shore, who is doing well, but I think retired recently. I thought there's one more Welsh guy. Seems like the Welsh, like the this has been the Welsh fighters are starting to make a name for themselves in MMA. It's like not being talked about enough, so I do want to mention that. Uh, But anyway, congrats Mason Jones. We'll change from that fight to the next fight. Serhiy taking on Cameron Smotherman. I picked Cameron Smotherman to win, and I was wrong. Serhiy wins this fight via unanimous decision. I believe it was 29-28. Two of the judges' scorecards. One might gave him 30-27. But Serhiy, I was surprised. I thought Cameron Smotherman was going to win, especially in the second and third round, considering City in his last couple of fights kind of slowed down in his fights, but he looked good against Smotherman. He looked it's like Smotherman had no answers for City. City was able to attack him and hit him with some good shots, and especially used like he was a better boxer of the two. So in the first two rounds, and Smotherman had a lot more success in the third round, and that's why I thought he won the third round because he landed more and did more and landed more shots and hurt him. But City did have a darts choke. I think it was a darts choke if my memory serves me correct. I want to say it was a darts choke, but with that being, but yeah, he had a darts choke or some choke. I forget what it was. And as you could argue, maybe City gets that round, but I think Smartman landed more, did more in that round than City. So so that's why I gave him the third round. But City clearly won the fight. Smotherman didn't really have a lot of answers for City in his boxing or striking to that third round. In the third round, City Smotherman did land some good body shots like I thought he was going to do, and I thought it was going to be used to help him win. But he did, but it was too late by the time he started doing it. But either way, good fight from City. I was wrong about Canadian fighters. I mentioned how you can't trust Canadian male fighters. You can't pick them because their success has been terrible. But he wins this fight. Now, does it mean he's going to be a contender? I don't know. Probably not. But wait and see. We'll see. Who knows? Maybe City breaks through as a Canadian male fighter. I know he's originally from the Ukraine, but when he was 6, his family moved to Canada. But still, we'll wait. We'll see if City can break through for the Canadian fighters. But yeah, good victory for him. Finish from that fight to the next fight. Montel Jackson versus Daniel Marcos. I picked Montel Jackson to win. That was correct. Montel Jackson won 30-27. Clearly, Daniel Marcos didn't come to fight. He just tried to take. He just tried to go for takedowns and try to smother him. Didn't do nothing, and he deserved to lose because he fought terribly. A lot of people are probably wondering how the heck was Daniel Marcos 17-0 prior to this fight, and it's like he did not look like a guy who was undefeated. Montel Jackson this wasn't the most exciting fight, but Montel Jackson clearly was trying to fight. He landed shots. He actually was throwing punches, landing punches that rocked Marcos. He actually reversed takedowns him. stub takedown attempts. I think he did land a takedown round one if I memory serves me correct. I think he might have landed two of them in round one, or I think he landed another one in one of the later rounds. I forget round two or three, but Montel Jackson clearly won his fight, but this wasn't exactly the performance he needed to really like move up in the rankings. Although I don't think he was going to move up that much in the rankings anyway, even if he beat Daniel Marcos, despite him being undefeated. But Montel Jackson deserves a ranked opponent next. He should give him, I don't know, Kyler Phillips. Yeah, Kyler Phillips or somebody like that. Someone top 15 from like 14 to like 10. He should get opponent from those ranking opponent from one of those rankings because he's good. He's good. I know this wasn't the best performance for him, but you look at previous performances. The guy's clearly good. I think he's got potential. Hopefully Montel Jackson fights again soon. And because the thing with him in his career is that he fights, but then he takes a while to fight again. He's been a UFC roster. I forgot. Let me check his first fight in UFC. He fought the Contender Series in 2018, and then fought UFC two. Don't know why I'm coughing today. Shit. I don't know why when I start talking in these videos and stuff, it's like my mouth just goes dry all of a sudden, and then like I'm parched and I start coughing. It makes no sense. Let me drink my water real quick. Maybe that'll help. Maybe I should drink more water before doing this video. I thought I was drinking enough water, but anyway, let me just do that real quick. I'm talking too fast. I don't know. Anyway, yeah, UFC 227, August of 2018, and I'm checking his last fight was before the Marcos was the victor at Damon Blackshaw, which happened this past July. But before that, his previous fight before the Damon Blackshaw fight was a victory over Reinier Yaya, and that was back in April 2023. And then the fight before that was November 2012, so not that far distance between fights. But then before that, his last fight was September 2021, victory with JB Buys. So that's the issue with Montel Jackson's that the last several years he's only fought twice once in a year in a calendar year one time. That was 2021. Since then he hasn't been active. So hopefully Montel Jackson can be more active, fight again this year. He really didn't take much damage, so hopefully he can turn around in August or September. More so September. I'd like to see him fight again in September or October because we're in May now. Get somebody in the top 15. They have to put somebody. They got to put him against somebody in the top 15. Hopefully he can turn around and fight, be active because this guy is talented, like I said, and we need to see where his ceiling is at. And him being active, we can have a better understanding than him not being active. Because then you could say, oh, he was never that good, but at the same time you wouldn't know because he was so inactive. You know what I mean? We don't want that. We don't want the inactivity to be an excuse of why he never lives up to the potential. But yeah, he won that fight. Good victory from him. Daniel Marcos, that was terrible, man. What was that? Come on, Marcos, you gotta do more. You actually gotta fight. Going for takedowns and that's all you try to do. Nothing else. You didn't try to do anything else, and it's just like, come on. Nothing wrong with takedowns, but you gotta do more than just attempt takedowns to win a fight, especially if you're not getting them. But anyway, we'll change from that fight to the next fight. Santiago Ponzinibbio and Daniel Rodriguez. I picked Ponzinibbio to win. Now, it looked like Ponzinibbio was going to win, but Rodriguez caught him with that nice flurry combination. They was like a five-fight combination. Then he landed with that left hook that dropped him. And then that flip shot really put him out. And Rodriguez had won the first round, and it looked like he had dropped Ponzinibbio too in round one. I think he did, right? Yeah, he did drop Ponzinibbio in round one. Ponzinibbio survived, and then Ponzinibbio's recent fights, he seems to be like very chinny. Like, seems to always get rocked or dropped in his fights. His recent fights, it seems like that happens no matter what. And Rodriguez caught him and hurt him. And Rodriguez in the first round looked good. He looked like the better boxer of the two. And Ponzinibbio didn't really do anything. But in the second round, Ponzinibbio won that round. He landed a lot more. He was doing more. He showcased more of his skills because I thought Ponzinibbio was going to win because I thought Ponzinibbio was had more tools in the bag. Like he could do more than Rodriguez. Rodriguez he likes to throw his hands and stuff. in his fights. But if here, but and Ponzinibbio looked like the better mixed martial artist. And then third round, Ponzinibbio was doing all right, but then he got caught. That combination caught him. That I think it was like a 5-punch combination that caught him. It was like overhand. It was an overhand right that started the flurry for Rodriguez. That Rodriguez landed, and then Rodriguez called him that left hook, dropped him, and then he knocked. Then he landed that follow up shot, put him out clearly, and he was out clearly. I know Ponzinibbio was upset the referee, but Ponzinibbio got up and then stumbled to the cage after protesting the referee. He got up. He was like, "What? Why you stop it?" Then he was upset. He was walking, and he's just like this, stumbles to the cage like that. If you're watching, you saw what I did. If you're listening, I kind of like move my body like I'm stumbling. In case you heard, you're listening to me and you can't see what I'm doing. But good stoppage by the ref. A great stoppage. Good knockout for Rodriguez. He needed that victory too because Rodriguez, I think, was on a 2-fight losing streak. Let me see. Before this fight. No, my bad. He was coming out victory over Alex Morono. My bad. I thought he was on a losing streak, but he was prior to the Morono fight. So yeah, good performance for Rodriguez. Good knockout. Good stuff. Good for him. They're both older fighters, in the welterweight division. So Rodriguez, won, I guess, what people are calling the Battle of the Unks. So yeah, congrats to Rodriguez. Now we'll go to the co-main event. Reinier De Ridder and Bo Nickal. Reinier De Ridder wins via TKO in second round. Man, a lot of people have a lot to say about this fight and Bo Nickal. Man, oh man. The Ridder, I thought Bo Nickal was going to win. Looking back at it, I don't know why the fuck I picked Bo Nickal to win. What was I thinking? I let the GM3 performance and the goofy striking fool me into thinking that freaking Bo Nickal was going to beat him up. I didn't like Bo Nickal's got elite striking. It's there's potential, but it's clearly not elite. And the Paul Craig fight should have told me that I should remember the Paul Craig fight, how his striking wasn't the best. Now it was Paul Craig's, obviously. It should be like, man, Bo Nickal don't got elite striking like that. It's not like he can catch the Ridder. But I thought the Ridder's goofy striking before his mirror shot was like maybe Bo could catch him and then he'll just counter him and then the Ridder won't be able to take him down. Which the Ridder didn't exactly like. The Ridder didn't take him down easily. Like, if I remember, Bo Nickal actually took the Ridder down. The Ridder reverse position. I'm trying to see, did the Ridder get a takedown at a wall in this fight? Because I don't think he did. Yeah, the Ridder didn't get a takedown. It was 0 for 3. Bo Nickal took him down, and then the Ridder reverse position. He got on top of him. And the Ridder is a great grappler, great submission guy. That's like his game. If you're in the submission game, you're in trouble unless you have really good grappling. And De Ridder just kept attacking the knees to the body against Bo Nickal. That's the thing with De Ridder. De Ridder, he looked like a Dutch kickboxer, which he's from the Netherlands, but De Ridder don't got the striking like guys like Alistair Overeem have, or a lot of the Dutch kickboxers. If you know anything about kickboxing, the Dutch have a great history of kickboxers who've gone on to be elite, top level kickboxers. And De Ridder just kept laying knees to the body. He kept pressuring Bo too. That was another thing. He just kept pressuring Bo and pushing Bo back, and kind of like almost like broke Bo. Like Bo didn't know how to handle someone pressing forward against him, and not giving space. And De Ridder just kept pushing him, and he landed some dirty boxing and landed knees to the gut. He landed like at least 6 knees, and then that final knees would drop Bo. There was one like the 5th knee landed that hurt Bo Nickal. You see Bo Nickal's face like, ooh, like yeah, like that. And then De Ridder landed some dirty boxing punches to the head. And then Bo Nickal responded with some loops. And then De Ridder landed the last knee that dropped him and finished him. It was a good performance by De Ridder. Very good performance. And I should have never doubted De Ridder, man. I let that GM3 fight and awkward striking fool me thinking Bo Nickal had a chance. The fact he couldn't take him down. When Of course, Bo Nickal was probably going to lose to De Ridder. De Ridder was a two division champ and one championship, the middleweight and light heavyweight champion at the same time. And De Ridder's got 3 times the amount of fights as Bo Nickal. Like I shouldn't include that De Ridder was going to win, but that was probably my worst pick. In hindsight, that was probably the dumbest pick I made. That or my zero gone being John Jones. I made I predicted one. I predicted that as well. So I think I don't know which. I don't know. You guys can decide which prediction was dumber. Zero gone being John or De Ridder being Bo. I mean, excuse me, Bo being De Ridder. Excuse me. Let me get correct. I don't know. You guys decide which prediction was dumber on my part. Bo being De Ridder or Zero gone being John. But man, Bo Nickal was being shit on by a lot of people because of his performance. And Bo Nickal had it coming because Bo Nickal talked so much shit about so many fighters, especially top level middleweights, saying how their wrestling's trash, how they're bums. I mean, the way he talked about Hamzat, how his wrestling sucks, and that him and Hamzat are going to fight, and that he's going to be a favorite, all this stuff. Bo Nickal kind of brought on himself the backlash and the shit talking fans are giving him. He did was add to his personality and his confidence. Not that he was very confident, which you gotta be confident, be a good fighter. Sometimes you gotta be delusional as well, be a really good fighter, and that's true. But man, what his thing was crazy. It was crazy. He was shitting on Whitaker, I think Duplessis, and Hamza. It's like top level middleweights. It's like damn, it's insane. I remember people American top team hyping his wrestling. I remember people saying how I remember this Bo Nickal was crapping on Kobe Covington's wrestling and saying how it wasn't that good and etc. And I remember he was saying that because he's working with Jorge Masvidal leading up to his fight with Kobe Covington, and how some people American top team won Jorge beat Kobe because the whole history of Kobe and Jorge and the American top team, which that's a whole another story for another day. If you're MMA fan, you know the story, but some of you don't know, it's a long story. But anyway, and it's like, damn, it's like you're just talking guys who have, had success in MMA, who are top level. Kobe Covington's used his wrestling to success in MMA. He fought for the title 3 times. He's been a top 10 at welterweight for a number of years. It's like, damn, but and you shouldn't Hamzat's wrestling, but Hamzat has had success with his wrestling and it's actually been effective. Hamzat has been a better fighter. It actually has success and it's beat top guys. Dricus is world champion. Whitaker's world champion. Kobe's fought for the belt. It's like, come on, Bo, what are you doing? What are you doing, my man? It's like, so yeah, Bo deserves the criticism he's getting. He deserves it. I don't blame people because I'm critical of Bo. And also another reason why people are shitting on Bo, they're also shitting on the UFC because the UFC promoted the crap out of Bo Nickal. They've been promoting him. They put him on main cards of pay-per-views. They're treating him like he's the next big star. The UFC recently has done a terrible job with promoting young talent. They always put the promotional eggs on these recent fighters, and they haven't panned out. Bo Nickal, Payne Talbot. Who was the other one that got fraud checked? They said, I mean, although you can make an argument, Bo Nickal it's kind of insulting to freaking De Ridder to say he got fraud checked by De Ridder because I mentioned De Ridder's credentials. It's like that if you got say he got fraud checks, like say he got beat up, he got beat up by a guy who's not good. We can't say about De Ridder. De Ridder's very good. But I also so I don't know if fraud check applies to Bo Nickal. You can say exposed. But I'm trying to remember the other UFC prospects that they got behind that failed miserably. There's a couple others, but yeah. I think people are kind of upset the UFC hyped Bo up to be this great guy when a lot of people felt like Bo Nickal wasn't all that hyped and he wasn't really that good. A lot of people felt that way in the MMA community. You can read the comments and forums and discussions, videos. People were not high on Bo Nickal. People weren't sold on him despite his wrestling credentials. And it's like, and plus they put Bo Nickal on main cards of pay-per-views and his fights, and it's like they said what gets cans. And it's like the guys he beat weren't all that good. And then also let's not forget they put him at UFC 300 on the main card of UFC 300. the biggest pay-per-view of all time, over Yuri Prohaska, over guys like Aljamain Sterling, or guys like Reinier De Ridder, Deiveson Figueiredo. He got put in the main card with those guys. And his fight wasn't even that great. I remember Bo Nickal himself was like doing this to himself. Even he acknowledged he didn't have the best performance because Cody Brundage, who ain't that good. It's like, oh my! It's like, yeah. I mean, I can see why people were excited for his downfall. It was also a way to stick it to the UFC for overhyping Bo Nickal and putting him in places he didn't belong, and also Bo Nickal's personality. Now, people say, "Oh, Bo Nickal's done." I mean, that's stupid. Bo Nickal's 29. This is his 8th professional fight. He can get better and improve. I know he can improve. I think Bo Nickal should. I mean, I know he trains an American Top Team, but it's American Top Team in Pittsburgh. It's not the main one in Florida, in South Florida. And Bo Nickal may have to maybe move to Florida and not stay in the Pittsburgh area. He may have to actually get out of his comfort zone and be full time in Florida and really work with those guys and improve his skills because his striking needs to improve. He needs to also, just because you have credentials in wrestling doesn't mean it's going to translate to MMA. I think we're starting to realize that, especially with American wrestlers. Like, just because you have the credentials doesn't mean you're gonna translate MMA. Like, it's not like how it used to be, where if you have the credentials of wrestling, you can just go out there and just dominate. You got, especially in modern MMA, you need more in wrestling. And if you have wrestling, you gotta be able to use it. Bo Nickal didn't shoot more takedowns. That's another problem. He should have kept shooting. I know he's getting pressured by De Ridder, but he should have kept shooting for more takedowns. He didn't do that. And yeah, so Bo Nickal, like I said, to me, he needs to like work on his skills and also work on his grappling because because his grappling, because the thing with Bo Nickal is that he had good top position that he should elite. I understand De Ridder is an elite grappler, like especially in BJJ, but he had positions where he could have done something, or he could have maybe escaped instead of just being laying on his back and allowing De Ridder to have success on the ground. If he has like decent understanding of grappling defense, he could have maybe try. He could probably push. He could probably like work his way on his feet off the ground. But he didn't do that. So there's a lot of things he needs to work on and really focus on. And going to South Florida and being there, the actual American Top Team, not the one they built in Pittsburgh, will help him with that. So you get that true experience. I made my move. I made my going to South Florida. Going there full time, spending a lot of time there in order to get better and improve. That's what he needs to do. And just work on his striking, work on dealing with pressure, actually work on that, and work on his dirty boxing. That's another thing. Like, a lot of these wrestlers now, especially American wrestlers, don't use dirty boxing like Daniel Cormier does. Even though get the takedowns, why don't they don't throw punches in the clinch or dirty boxing like Cormier used to do. And Cormier used that to success. And he was like one of the best at that. He was an American wrestler who was great taking guys down, but also if he couldn't take you down, he would just dirty box you, punch you in the clinch to hurt, to damage you, win fights, and make it easier to take you down. Like, why don't they do that? I'm talking about some of these newer like wrestlers who come to MMA, UFC. I don't see them doing that as much. And they should. And what was I gonna mention about Bo Nickal? Oh yeah, people are saying Bo Nickal should move to welterweight. Why? The guy cut 37 pounds to make 185. Like, the guy's like damn near 220 something. The fuck he has to go to welterweight? What? No. First of all, he looks smaller than De Ridder. De Ridder used to be a light heavyweight and fought heavyweight. Of course he looks smaller than him. De Ridder's 6'4" and a former light heavyweight. De Ridder honestly could be a light heavyweight. Probably should be a light heavyweight when his career when he gets older in his career. Because he's fought there before, had success there. He probably could have more success in heavyweight, especially as he gets older, than middleweight potentially. So I don't know why De Ridder doesn't free. I don't know why people are saying Bo Nickal should freaking go down weights. And he's too small for middleweight. No, he's the same size as Sean Strickland. Sean Strickland is a big guy. You see him outside camp, he's big. Strickland needs to be a welterweight too. So no, I don't agree with the whole he's too small for middleweight. That's nonsense. Especially you cut like 37, 36 pounds to make middle in a week to make middleweight, and that could play a factor in his performance. Well, no, I'm not. What am I saying? It's not that big of a factor. I'm not gonna do that. I'm not gonna do that. So that's ridiculous. That's a ridiculous take. I hear some people saying, "Oh, he's too small for middleweight." No, he's not. He's not. He's perfect size for it. I think he's perfect middleweight. It's. I mean, the thing, and some people, and like, I think just because you have credentials in wrestling, American wrestling, doesn't mean you're gonna be a great MMA fighter. People say, "Oh, American wrestling is getting left in the past." Not necessarily. Like people think, "Oh, American wrestling doesn't work anymore." Yeah, that's I wouldn't go that far because you got Bilal Muhammad, who's from America, a wrestler. Sean Brady, wrestler. Anthony Randis, a wrestler. Curtis Blade's a wrestler. When he actually uses wrestling, that's success. A wrestler. He's all, and Aljamain Sterling's still a top 10 featherweight. I know he lost, but he lost a close fight to Mozart Evelev. And I think he took Evelev down. And actually, if he had landed more strikes, would have actually beaten Evelev in his last fight. These are all American wrestlers who still are elite fighters. Now, like I said, you can't just you gotta be able to do more than just have credentials in wrestling. You gotta be able to use your wrestling fights. You gotta be able to learn how to mix the wrestling in with takedowns, Muay Thai, clinch fighting, grappling, submission game, etc. You gotta learn to mix the two. If you're able to do that, then you can be a success. So American wrestling, I think, still works. Now it's not as dominant as it used to be. You gotta do more than just have an American wrestling background in order to be a great MMA fighter. Obviously, that's true. But act like American wrestling doesn't work anymore. I think it's an overreaction by some MMA fans. A very overreaction. And also, people say, oh, I don't know, people are acting like, oh, getting finished by body shots somehow proves Bo Nickal is not tough. It's like, I mean, maybe, but it's like, it's a body shot. Get knee to the gut. If you get knee to the gut, hit a body shot, you're going to go down. I don't care who you are. There's people saying that, oh, top fighters don't get finished by body shots, when that's totally not true. There's plenty of examples of top fighters getting finished by body shots. Like, if you get in the body, you're going to be done. And especially in the right place, you get hit the body enough, it's going to slow you down. You're easier to hit, and you're more likely to get finished. Especially you hit a bunch of times in the body, hitting the right shot, you're done. Doesn't matter who you are. It's like top guys only finished by body shots is a stupid take that I see some people saying. It's just dumb. Anyway, I didn't even go whole spiel about Bo Nickal. This is like I talked so much about it that it probably should be his own video. But I just had to get that off my chest. I mean, that's what everyone's talking about, so I'm gonna talk about it. And yeah, yeah. So most of this video is just about Bo Nickal and De Ridder and my reaction. So yeah. Anyway, that's my thoughts. I'm gonna transition to the main event now. Cory Sandhagen versus Deiveson Figueiredo. Cory Sandhagen wins this fight via this injury in the second round. I think it's TK. Did they score TKO? Yeah, they did. TKO via injury. What was Figueiredo doing? What was this? The Bo Nickal thing happened. Everyone's so focused on that. People, I don't think people are talking about the Figueiredo stuff, the Figueiredo and Sandhagen thing. Figueiredo just kept shooting for takedowns and going for laylocks. Like, yeah, Figueiredo landed two, but Sandhagen landed two, and Figueiredo just kept going for laylocks and holding on to the leg. Like, laylocks in modern MMA don't work against high level guys in modern MMA. That's a fact. It just doesn't work like it used to 15 years ago. It doesn't work. And Figueroa just kept going for leg locks and leg locks. That's all he kept doing. I think Figueroa only drew 11 strikes the entire fight. He just kept going for leg locks and yeah, at one point, I just don't know what he was doing. Like, I don't understand Figueroa's game plan. Like, I'm surprised. Like, what was that? And I love Figueiredo. Figueiredo's a great fighter. I'm a big fan of it. I was telling last week how much of a fan I am of Figueiredo, but what was that? I didn't get what Figueiredo was trying to do. Like, I really didn't understand. What the heck? What was that? He barely threw strikes. He didn't look like himself. Like, was he injured going into this fight and decided to try to like get a submission victory or what? Like, I really don't understand. Like, it just everything's confusing. Like, the odds, Cory Sandhagen was a big favorite going to Figueiredo, which I'm like, why is he that big of a favorite against Deiveson Figueiredo? a guy who's had success at bantamweight, a former flyweight champion, a top level fighter. Like, how you that big of a favorite? And then I see this. It's like, did the Vegas oddmakers know something we didn't know going into this fight? Like, I don't understand it. Like, how? I don't get. Like, did people in Vegas know Figueroa was injured going into this fight or something? Maybe he was. I don't know. Because what happened? Figueroa lost because they like Figueroa was going for a leg lock, but his legs got entangled, and like Sango was like going for a leg lock, and like yes, like basically like Sango was trying to move his body to like get in a better position to like not get submitted, and like Dave said, Figueroa's like left leg basically just like basically I think his knee. I think I forget the injury of Figueroa. I don't know if it's a torn ACL. It had to be a torn ACL. Figueroa's knee popped and his injury, and basically his left knee, and basically his knee popped, and basically the fight got stopped. I think he might have a torn ACL, torn MCL. I'm not a doctor. I don't know. Let me see if there's any information about his knee. Cause let me see. Okay, MMA Junkie article says his health wasn't up to par entering the event. It's going how the leg injury is caused by a grappling exchange in the second round. Figueroa revealed his preparation and performance were affected by a pair of health issues. A jaw injury during the camp prevented former champion from training properly, and bacterial infection required antibodies during the fight week. Figueroa said in an interview with AG Fight. I mean, I guess maybe that's why he was going for a bunch of freaking takedowns because he had a jaw injury and he didn't train properly, so he probably was afraid that maybe his jaw might get re-broken again, and then when saying it was a great striker catching it. That probably explains it somewhat. But if your jaw is healed, maybe you shouldn't worry about it. Especially, I get it. You don't want to get jaw broken again. I'm not. I can't. I get it, but at the same time, it was maybe it wasn't healed. Maybe it wasn't fully healed. Or maybe it was so recent they didn't want to break his jaw again. So you know what? I get it. I don't know what I was saying trying to doubt that. But the bacterial infection, still like, if why are you going for leg locks? If you got to take down Sagan, why not throw a ground pound yourself? Or no body shots. Like, I don't get it's still like Figueiredo was basically fucked. He had a bad camp and it fucked in bad, and then he got bacterial infection the week of the fight. During fight week, he had to take antibodies which slowed down his cardio. I guess maybe he was going for lay locks and stuff because he didn't want to start his energy. I'm just trying to make up my mind why Figueiredo did what he did. Because I feel like that needs to be talked about more. What happened to Figueiredo? Sagan looked good, dog. Give him credit. He did look good. Like he stuffed like 3 takedowns of Figueiredo. Figueiredo got 2, and Sagan took Figueiredo down twice. He's grappling he did well in grappling, and it's kind of wrong because there was a grappling exchange that Sagan had with T. Dillashaw that caused Dillashaw to injure his knee and tore his ACL. And Dillashaw finished the fight. It wasn't as bad as Figueiredo's, but still. And then Figueroa has a knee injury as well going into this, ends up suffering a leg injury as well. And similar grappling exchange, kind of like Sandhagen had with Dillashaw. So you got to be careful with grappling with Sandhagen, especially with your legs to get entangled because if you're not careful, you might get your knee injured. And Sagan's good. And Sagan looked good, though. He landed a good amount of strikes, too, in this fight, too. Sagan landed about, like, let me see. He landed like 61% of his total strikes, 62 significant strikes. Sagan was landing some good shots too on the ground. He landed some decent ground and pound, and at one point I was like Figueroa. I think the ref kind of warned Figueroa to move out, do something or I'm gonna stop it. And Figueroa did, to be fair. But the problem with Sagan Figueroa going for leg locks that left him open to get ground and pound. And Sagan did land some good ground and pound in this fight as well. So I do want to give Sagan credit there. And Sagan looked good. He reminded people that he's a top level bantamweight. He is top level, and that he arguably could get the next fight between. He can get the next title shot against the winner of Robin and Sean O'Malley. He could arguably. Although I think Jan deserves it because Jan did beat Sandhagen 4 years ago, and Jan mentioned it and saying said how it's 2021, he lost both guys. It's my time. I wouldn't mind seeing Sandhagen and Jan rematch because I can't believe it's been almost 4 years since those two fought. Now they're entertaining fight too. Jan won, especially the second half. It's like the later rounds, Jan took over that fight, but I wouldn't mind a rematch for to winner number one contender fight. But I also understand why they would give it to Sandhagen because Sandhagen hasn't fought either one of those guys. It's the first matchup, which Jones lost to both O'Malley. Well, lost to O'Malley. He got robbed against O'Malley. I don't care what anybody says. That was a bullshit robbery. And then of course he lost to Marab, got dominated by Marab. But Jan's won two in a row since and so good and beat two very good fighters in bantamweight, in Song Yadong and Deiveson Figueiredo, and has a victory over Sandhagen. Well, Sandhagen, I know his last fight prior to this one, he lost to Umar, but Umar, he lost to Umar. But before that, Sandhagen was on a 4-fight win streak going to the Umar fight, and that's won 5 last 6, and just beat a top 5 guy in Deiveson Figueiredo's former champion too. So you can argue both guys have a case to get the next title fight. Basically, I guess the winner of O'Malley and Marab, they fight next month. But I will see. But I wouldn't mind a title eliminator with the two of them. I like to see a rematch just to see because Cory Sandhagen's grappling has improved since that first fight. He's using it more, so I like to see if maybe that could be a factor in the rematch if they do make the rematch. But Sandhagen looked good though. I do want to give Sandhagen credit. I know I mentioned Figueiredo his mistakes, but I'd also say he did look good as well. Like two things can be true at the same time. Figueiredo made a lot of mistakes. It felt weird, and now I know why he explained it. It makes a little more sense. But also saying it looked good as well. So I do want to mention that. Anyway, this video was a lot longer than I expected. That Bo Nickal thing really like my thoughts about it really made this video longer than it would have been because I really want to talk about it. I really did. Hang on. Sorry, I thought I was gonna cough again. I really did want to talk about it. That's why I was kind of speed rushing to the other fights because I really want to get to Bo Nickal, and then talk about the main event, of course. So yeah, thank you guys for watching, listening. I'm glad, guys. Let me know your thoughts on the fights and Bo Nickal and what you thought his future is, and who you think deserves the next shot at the bantamweight title after Marab and O'Malley after rematch, or do you want to see a rematch between Jan and Sandhagen? Let me know. Thank you guys for watching, listening. I'll see you guys next time, and the next video will be, of course, UFC 315 preview. And thank you guys. Don't forget to give this video a thumbs up. I don't know why I couldn't say that. Have a good day, good night, like I said, and I'll see you next time.